I think all of the girls had an issue with this episode was when the Superfans came. I mean,
could there be any more sluts in this house?
Anyway, so today I've got with me 3 Superfans.
First of all, nobody knows who those girls were. I don't think that they were really super fans because I've never heard of them before or after. And I've asked people like, who the hell were those girls? No one seems to know. And you and I were talking about this on the phone the other night, and we were both sort of guessing that maybe they were actors.
Yeah, they had to be actors. They were such assholes.
It really seems like I think you're putting on a good show for us, and I don't really buy a lot of what you're saying.
I think that Brandy M did actually a really great job. So what's crazy is, so that light that is above her head right now, that shit was really for real fucking hot. And one of the earlier shots, you could see that she actually has her shoes off, because with the shoes on, your head is like touching the light. It's like burning your hair. It was crazy. Yeah, but that's so unfair because it wasn't her hair. It was like product. If you put any kind of product in your hair and then you put heat on it, then it's going to steam and smoke is going to come off. Not smoke, but that's going to happen. So poor Brandy M. Poor all of us, really. This was a brutal episode, you guys. I got to be honest. Yeah, look at her hair.
I'm honest in who I am, and I have nothing to hide.
Wow.
Think of that one. I think she's fake. I didn't believe a word she said.
So either the producers told them to be like super shitty to everybody, or they have the worst intuition ever, because Brandy M, people can say a lot of things about her, but fake is definitely, you guys know this, that is not a Brandy M trait. She's like, if anything, she's like the most real. She is the queen of no fucks given. So yeah, I really want to interview these girls. We got to find them, you guys. We got to Google them.
You need to be a pretty confident girl to date somebody in the limelight. I'm going to explode and I feel it.
So you guys remember the interview that I did with Sam, and she actually specifically talked about this.
Like, no, I mean, they were so good at being bitches. Like,
that was brutal.
And I think that we had all been there for a very lengthy amount of time. I think I was like PMSing majorly. And I honestly think when we were doing that challenge, the interrogation room challenge, I know this is like crazy to say, but the things they knew, like no one could have known those things about me in my life. And I really feel like they had our psych chart.
Do you see a therapist?
Or like our psychological evaluation in front of them?
They definitely, they did, because I had the same experience. And just for you guys who are watching this, just so you know, there was a series of tests that we had to go through. I mean, of course, they made sure that we had no criminal history. We have no STD, you fucking assholes. We got fucked with so much going, all those girls have STDs. Believe it or not, we all had to take STD tests and blood tests and the whole 9 yards to prove we didn't have STDs. Yeah. So, I mean, trust me, all of my STDs I got after the show. I didn't have any at the time of the show. I got all mine after. So anyway, yes, no STDs. And then we also had to do a psych evaluation. So, there was a lot of really personal stuff they put in there.
But really, I was super fucking pissed and super upset because they brought up the whole thing about, they were asking about medication. I had never taken medication in my entire lifetime, but when this show aired was 2007. And I was still, honestly, you guys, 2004, December was when my mom passed away. And about a year after that, I still was like such a mess. I went to a psychologist and then I went to a psychiatrist, and they prescribed me with Zoloft, which is an antidepressant. That was the first time in my life that I'd ever taken antidepressants. I think I took it for about 2 years and weaned myself off of it and haven't taken it again since then. No shame in that whatsoever, but when I'm talking about, oh, they can't rattle me and da-da-da, that literally was just me playing into the character, because that honestly, just like Sam, how she felt with all of this, I was really upset because they had really no right. And I say they, and I don't really mean the girls. I mean they, the producers, really had no right to take it to that level. And
Are you stable?
Oh, yeah.
You think you're stable?
Absolutely.
Do you see a therapist?
Yes, I do.
Are you on medication?
Yes.
I think we're done.
That they would share that shit that I thought was going to be kept private. I thought that was only being asked to know if we would be psychologically sound enough to go on the show. So tell everybody about your experience, because you have kind of a similar thing, right?
Yeah, well, same thing. Like, you think they're giving us a psych evaluations just to make sure that we're, sturdy enough to be on a reality show in the first place. So it's like, we think it's a safety precaution, right? But then once I got in that room, they were asking me all kinds of questions that nobody could have known. Like, tell us, are you on medication? They asked, why are you on medication? Did your father cheat on your mother? Do you think that's your fault? Like, it was insane. Why do you have trust issues? Tell us about all the relationships you've been in. Why don't you trust anyone? Were you abused? Like, crazy things. And it's like, the fact that they brought that up in that moment and only filmed our reactions is just so manipulative and just completely wrong.
That was really fucked up. Because I remember you really broke down. I broke down too. I was crying a lot because all of that stuff really, really triggered me. But then on top of being triggered, I was like, oh no, I'm crying on the show. So I felt like it wasn't, A, it wasn't my character. B, as I've mentioned several times, I don't like being vulnerable in settings like that. So it was embarrassing for me to have this emotional breakdown on television. I was really, really, really upset. And the more upset I was getting, the more upset I was getting. And so I remember I was just like crying and crying. And so then I think when I did one of the interviews, like the on the flies, the confessionals or whatever they're called, I remember I made it like, oh yeah, those were crocodile tears. Like I made up some like, lazy villain character line of like, yeah, that was just fake. Whatever. But I was doing that to save face because I was mortified that I had just been triggered on freaking national TV. And so I know you had a similar thing where you very much were triggered and you were having a meltdown as well, rightfully so.
Right, but also I think I might have cried like 20 times on that show. So, so unlike your crocodile tears, I mean, I was miserable. Girl, I was so miserable on that show. I mean, I'm just going to say it.